Court is now in session for the trial of Shady Enigmar. The defense is ready, Your Honor. Is the prosecution ready? I was thinking, is this what all the fuss is about? Bit of a buzzkill, really. Buzzkill? Is this some new kind of crime? One of the worst. This is a trial, yeah? Where are the sweaty palms? The pounding hearts? A Gavineer's concert got 10 times the thrill this gig's got. Who are you again? Clavier Gavin. I came to get the party started. Legally, yeah? Gavin? Defense attorney Christoph Gavin's... figures my bro's more famous in this part of town. Clavier Gavin. Lead singer for the mega band The Gavineers. You're out of your league, rock boy. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. You're out of your league, rock boy. True, my debut single 13 Years Hard Time for Love went platinum overnight. But that's just a hobby to me compared to this, yeah? Talkative, aren't you? I like your affected Euro rock accent, by the way. I'm just getting warmed up. Hair attorney, right? Perhaps you would be so kind as to fill us in on the case? A chung, baby. Time to call it the opening act. What was his name again? Yes, Detective Gumshoe. Hit it! And you are? Hey, you're the one who called me up here, sir. Name's Dick Gumshoe. I'm a homicide detective down at the precinct. Detective Gumshoe, long time no see. Hey, you! Huh? Me? Today's the day, pal. Today I win and you lose. I got confidence in my testimony today, see? What, you normally lack confidence in your testimony? Hair detective, this is my stage, can the antics. Huh? All this hey youing and such, and I could care less about your history together. Very well, Detective Gumshoe, if you would. Please tell us about the case at hand. It happened 6 days back in a room in the general hospital. The facts are as simple as they come. Here's the crime scene. The victim was a patient, asleep in a hospital bed. The killer comes in, puts the pistol in his forehead, and bam! Lights out! Them's the facts! Not so long ago, the victim Magnified Grammari was a famous man. He had the entire country under his magical spell, as it were. Yes, the great magician. He retired years ago, though. Say the name Magnified one of my generation, you'd be lucky to get a blank stare. Yes, though I'm sure the youngsters today know his disciples even better. I dare say Trupe Grammar has made a name for themselves. Anyhow, the retired Magnified's been in hospital for the last year. What was it? A malignant tutor or something. Doing a thing to his liver, I think. Yeah. A malignant tumor, perhaps? In other words, he had liver cancer. He only had 3 months left to live, in fact. The facts do seem simple enough, but something's not right. The victim was already climbing a 3-month stairway to heaven. Why not wait for him to knock on heaven's door? Why shoot him? I wouldn't have put it quite so lyrically, but it's true. Why make the effort to commit murder when the victim was about to die? Incidentally, the victim had a serious case of diabetes. Diabetes? In fact, he was about to shoot up with insulin when he was shot with a pistol. The syringe was found at the crime scene. Chronic diabetes and cancer. As much as it pains me to say it, the victim was clearly at the end of his life. I believe the question before us is clear then. Why did the killer have to shoot this dying man? What reason could he have had? Very well, detective. Perhaps you can enlighten us as to the circumstances of the shooting. Yes, sir! Actually, the victim kind of ordered the defendant to do him in. A few days before it happened, the victim sent a letter ordering his own murder. The defendant did what was asked of him and shot the old man in the forehead. The bullets fired from the pistol found the scene, no doubt about it. And the pistol definitely belonged to the old man, sir! What? You're saying the victim ordered his own shooting? Those are the facts. I have the letter here in question. Very unusual indeed. Although, could such a letter be really the cause of one to pull a trigger, I wonder? I believe the answer to that question can be found at the end of the letter. Ah, you cannot refuse, and we both know the reason why. Detective Gumshoe, can you explain this to the court? Unfortunately, even the defendant won't say a peep about that bit, sir. One thing bothers me about this. Why didn't he just say 11? Why have him come at 11:05 without some specific reason? The devil is in the details, Herr Attorney. Well, was there some reason? As it turns out, there was. Every night for half an hour, starting at 11, the victim, Magnified Gramrai, was given an IV. An IV? There it is in the picture, off to the side of the bed. At 11, a doctor would come and set up the IV. 30 minutes later, he would come back for the empty bag. This happened every night without fail. So that was the only time they could meet without the chance of an untimely interruption, during his IV. Very well, shall we begin? Mr. Wright, your cross-examination, if you would. What's this reason he couldn't refuse, I wonder? He could have at least mentioned it to me. How can you be so sure? Hey, you gotta learn to stop relying on other people to do your thinking for you, pal! Learn to think for yourself! Get that noggin cranking! You fail to grasp the concept of questioning, detective. First, we got this letter. It says, shoot in the forehead, loud and clear. I can see that, but I still wouldn't do it. Well, maybe you need to grow up yourself a backbone, pal! You fail to grasp the concept of shooting people as bad, detective. We also found the defendant's pistol at the scene. Traces of gunpowder residue had shown that it had been fired recently. Well, Mr. Wright? As far as I can tell from looking at this photo, there seems to be no issue with the prosecution's claim. The photo. Maybe there's something in there I can use. So they're saying the defendant shot the victim in the forehead? I think there's a hole in the prosecution's argument. Clear, Mr. Enigma! Shot something else. Looking at this photo, another possibility occurs to me. Yes? What does the letter tell us? That the victim had a reason he couldn't refuse his teacher's wishes. Bingo, pal! That's why the defendant popped him one in the forehead! Oh, the defense disagrees. You see, the defendant had another choice he could make.
Objection!
What? And you can prove that with this photo? I can prove he had a choice, yes. The defendant might have fired like he was ordered, but he didn't shoot the victim's forehead. Well, let's see what you're thinking, Mr. Wright. If he didn't shoot the victim's forehead, what did the defendant shoot?
Take that!
The clown doll? Take a closer look. See? It's been shot in the forehead too. Oh! There's a hole in its forehead! Yes, and a hole in the prosecution's claim. Ha! And I suppose you have a reason as to why he'd shoot the clown doll? He didn't just shoot the doll. He shot the doll's forehead. His forehead? Ah! Let's read the orders once more, shall we? You will shoot one shot, square in the forehead. Which is exactly what the defendant did. He shot the clown doll square in the forehead! The defense has raised an intriguing possibility. That hole in the clown doll's forehead, it definitely looks like it was shot. Bailiff, send someone to investigate this matter. I admit, I'm impressed, but I expected nothing less. Still, this doesn't mean he didn't shoot the victim. Perhaps he did have to shoot a forehead as ordered, but the letter says nothing about whose forehead. This is the only way to follow orders without taking a life! The bullet hole in the clown doll's forehead does demand an explanation. It might very well be a clue, yet Prosecutor Gavin is right. It does not prove the defendant's innocence. You cannot say for sure the defendant didn't shoot the victim. So sorry, Mr. Wright. How sad to see the mighty fall. How sad to see the novice's overconfidence. He doesn't realize just how big this little hole is going to get. Detective Gumshoe, Please take this newfound fact into account as you continue your testimony. So what if he shot the clown? He still shot the victim, pal! You mean this pistol, the one in the crime scene photo? That's the one! It's a funny-looking gun, so there's no mistaking it. We compared the bullet taken from the victim's skull with the bullet fired from this gun. The rifling marks on the bullet were a perfect match. So you verified the murder weapon, in other words. You bet we did! Why are you so certain? What pile of sand has been stuck in your head all this time, pal? Never heard of Zack and Val's quick draw shoot 'em? Huh? What's that? What are defendant's specialties? Zack and Val sit on either side of a girl. Then they shoot. But the bullets don't hit her. Instead, they hit everything else on the stage. This is one of the pistols used in their show. Got a great design, huh? The kids love it. Many boys and girls join the police because of that pistol, I hear. You know, that would explain a lot about the police force. Troop A Grammar stopped doing the act a while ago. The old man held on that pistol ever since. The court would like to see the pistol in question. You got it, sir! Here she is! Well, this truly is a blast from the past. It's a stage pistol for magic, but it can fire real bullets, too. Looks so much bigger in real life than on TV. Yeah, but it can only hold one round. By the way, the pistol's firing chamber is empty. And it shows traces of having been fired recently. So were there any fingerprints found on any gun? Unfortunately, no. Of course, the defendant is known for wearing gloves. We might say that a lack of fingerprints is, in fact, a fingerprint of its own. Aha! Intriguing point! Well made! Whoa, whoa, whoa! Not well made! Not intriguing! In any case, the court accepts this into evidence. My grandchild will get a kick out of seeing this. But now's the time to return to our testimony.
Objection!
The trickiest cases often seem the simplest. Prosecutor Gavin, you missed the bullet hole in the clown's forehead. If you hadn't missed that, you might have come to a very different conclusion. Understand? Yeah, but like I just said, pal, after he shot the clown down the forehead, he went and... did nothing of the sort to the victim. The pistol proves he could not. The murder weapon? How? It's quite simple, Your Honor. This pistol only holds one round at a time. If he had shot the clown down the forehead, he could have shot the victim too! Yarg! That's not a contradiction, not even close. All he had to do is reload the pistol after the first shot. Oh, where did he get the extra bullet? They're not easy to come by, you know. If you are claiming the defendant had one ready, then prove to us how he got it! I had a feeling this wasn't over yet. No, the party's just getting started. And I haven't proven anything yet beyond my good looks and startling record sales. And utter lack of humility. And what's this? It seems the prosecution has another witness prepared. Like I said, Hair Detective was just a warm-up act. Now that the audience has gotten a taste of what's to come, they're ready. Ready for what? My decisive witness, of course. A witness who you'll find can prove one thing for us. That it was Zack Grandma who shot the victim in the forehead! Very well. We will pause for the 15-minute recess. This might be my lucky break. I'll need 15 minutes to talk to my client, Zack. Court is adjourned. Very impressive, Mr. Wright. I have to say, I expected nothing less. We've only just begun. I was hoping you'd tell me a bit more about what happened, actually. I did not think you would believe me if I told you. Better that you discovered the truth for yourself. I was thinking of you, you know. I think we need less thinking and more talking. That night in the hospital, what really happened? Ah, the way your eyes gleam, Mr. Wright. You're scared, Lucy. Speaking of which, where is she? You have seen the problem yourself, the letter. The one shot in the forehead one, right? Yes, and the reason he speaks of. I could not deny my mentor's wishes, even if it meant my own death. Why not? This is something I will not say for now, at least. What's this for now business? I have done many things in my life, some well, some poorly. But this is a cross we must bear alone to our graves. We? You want to know about the night of the incident? Finally, this guy likes to take his time getting to the important stuff. Of course, I had no intention of shooting my mentor. I stuck in his room that night at the appointed time. And found upon his bedside there were 2 pistols. 2? Yes, the one I'd used on the stage. And the one that had been used by my partner, Valent. Oh, for the Zack and Valent's quick draw thing? My mentor had the look of one sleeping. I stood by his bedside, hearing the only light sound of his breath. Then I took the pistol into my hand. I cannot deny that my resolve faltered then for a moment. You faltered? You mean you thought about shooting him? Recall the reason that I could not refuse his request. His last such request, though not his first. So there were other requests you couldn't refuse before? To be honest, I've not always been steadfast, and I fear I brought pain upon Drusi. Was Magnify coercing his disciples somehow? What was going on there? Yet, in the end, I did not shoot him. Instead, I turned and shot the clown. I took the pistol I'd fired and placed it into my pocket. In your pocket? I believe if you examine the bullets in the clown's head, you will find them to be different than the ones in my mentor. What were those called again? Rifling marks? Yes, well, that is all I have to tell you concerning the case. Concerning the case? You mean there's something else you can tell me? You are a fascinating man, Mr. Knight. Thanks? Yes, there is something. My mentor, his eyes opened. What? Magnify Grammar? The old devil. He was not asleep, you see. Of course, the gunshot would have woken him anyway. And there we had our last discussion as mentor and pupil. It was not a long discussion, maybe 5-10 minutes or so. What did you talk about? Ha ha ha! Mr. Knight, did I not just tell you? It does not concern this case. Zack Grammar seems pretty steadfast to me, or maybe just stubborn. Mr. Wright, your presence is requested in the courtroom. Once again, I am in your hands, Mr. Wright. Right, let's get back in there. Court is back in session. During our recess, a bullet was dug out from the clown's head. Wow, this is news! And the rifling marks? There wasn't time to do a detailed analysis, though they did find the weapon type matches the murder weapon. Well, that's not very conclusive, is it? Which is why I'm about to call my very decisive witness, Your Honor. Your decisive witness? How many times have I heard those words? Though, they often turn out to be far less decisive than you think. Oh, don't worry on my account. I'm quite confident this witness will do the job. After all, he's intimately acquainted with the players of our little production, being the other half of Troupe Grammar's famous duo Zack and Valent. Valent Grammar, so we get to meet the great Magnify's other disciple. Perhaps we'll start by asking your name and occupation. Valent Grammar, magician. And you're the decisive witness, are you? You can prove your fellow student, your partner's guilt? Fate, the grand illusion, filled with traps and tricks. Wait! The shooting took place in the hospital after 11 o'clock at night. If you're a witness, does that mean you were there that late? If one were to do this logically, then the conclusion is yes. Okay. I always get the characters, don't I? I have an interesting fact for you. You see, several days before the crime, my witness received this. That looks very familiar. Wait. That's the same one as Zack received! Yes, so perhaps I should say, ta-da! Order! Order! And what does it say? Surely not the same thing. Perhaps you should see for yourself, Your Honor. Why, it's practically the same! The court accepts this into evidence. This is most unusual. Exactly what was going on with your folks? What was your true big Remurai up to? By which you mean what? I'm just having trouble envisioning man who asked his students to kill him. Both of them, no less. It's just my opinion, Herr Judge. But from these letters, I'd say he was coercing them, not asking them. We walk the magician's path together, and doing so shared much of our lives. When people are so close, there's strain, warping of relations, you might say. Yet this has nothing to do with the case at hand. By which you mean you're not gonna tell us. Which makes you wonder even more about this reason he couldn't refuse. Well, let's get on with the testimony for starters. The defendant Zach Willamai stands accused. Tell us why. Oh, I'll do more than that. For where he walks the red roses singing hymns to the miracle, that is magic. Fascinating, though I hardly need to remind you that the evidence could just as clearly point to you as the suspect. The letter, the murder weapon, and now 2 bullets at the scene. In fact, the only difference seems to be the designated time. Ha 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 ha. As every magician knows, timing is everything. Yes, and now it's the time to get the party fired up. That night, I visited the hospital room at the time Magnified requested. The smell of gunpowder hung in the room, and my mentor had taken his final bow. I did not imagine my fellow student might have received the same instructions. Yet to deal with the dead is still a deal. Death's sweet kiss, I gave it to the clown. Then informed the doctor and the police. So you were the one who reported the crime? Indeed, and I would think this fact alone would clear my name of suspicion. Let's not jump to any conclusions here. Yes, the cross-examination generally comes before the conclusions in this court. But if your testimony proves to be true, you witness, the defendant Zach Remurai is guilty. And if it wasn't Zach Remurai, then the killer was you, Valent! And no disappearing act will get you out of that. So, you weren't worried for your own safety at all? I mean, you smelled gunpowder, yes? What if the shooter was still nearby? I do not consider this, to be honest. It is forbidden for a magician to have a good imagination. Really? Isn't magic all about that? Okay, how about this? You were the shooter, which is why you weren't afraid. Now you are the one imagining. It is forbidden for a lawyer to have a good imagination. The witness will refrain from pausing so suspiciously. My forbidden imagination is starting to imagine things. There were 2 bullet holes at the scene, one in the victim and one in the clown. You're saying that the one who shot the clown was you? No doubt my partner Zach said much the same thing. Yeah, because whoever didn't shoot the clown committed murder, dummy. Better dig around here for a bit more, see what I turn up. Mr. Valent, let me ask you about something else concerning the crime scene, namely... how many pistols were there when you entered the room? By which you mean what, precisely? 2 pistols were used in the Zack and Valent quick-draw shoot-'em, correct? 1 for each of you. You are well informed, yet I only saw one of my old friends sitting in the hospital room that night. What did Zach tell me back in the lobby? Of course, I had no intention of shooting my mentor. I snuck into his room at that night at the appointed time, and found there upon his side 2 pistols. I took the pistol I'd fired and placed it into my pocket. I see no problem with that statement. Only 1 pistol is visible in the photograph of the crime scene after all. So you picked up that pistol and fired it? Indeed I did. Alakazam, Alakazing, Alakaboom. Is the number of pistols really so important? The number of pistols is quite important, Your Honor. Very well. Please add this detail to your testimony. What can I do but obey? Only 1 pistol was in the hospital room that night. With it, I shot the clown. Objection! According to the defendant Zach Grammar, when he entered the room, there were 2 pistols on that table. 2? What are the pistols he used to shot the clown in the forehead? Then he left with it in his pocket. Of course this is what he would say. Unlike the hapless clown, we must assume our defendant has some brains in his head. Well, what about Mr. Valent told us? You see, there's something about his testimony that doesn't make any sense. What might that be? I told you, I took the pistol that was there and shot the clown. That's your story, at least. What? But the rifling marks tell a very different story, Mr. Valent. Recall what Prosecutor Gavin told us. We compared the bullet taken from the victim's skull with the victim's fired gun. The rifling marks on the bullets were a perfect match. Mr. Valent, if you fired this pistol, then you shot the victim in the forehead! Order! Order! Well, this is all rather sudden. What have I done? Prosecutor Gavin? I owe the court an apology. Sorry. Sorry for what? You see, I was unaware that the two of these unique pistols were crafted. The analysis of the rifle marks only proved the type of gun that fired at. But that's not what you told us before. You said you verified the murder weapon. Which is why I'm apologizing to you now. Quite sincerely, I might add. Would you hold me accountable for my mistake made in my youth? Oh, come on! That was just this morning! I'm still young. And I might add, it wasn't really my fault. If the defendant had only admitted he took one of the pistols seen in the crime in the first place, we would not be having this pleasant discussion now. Bernd Gramenai? Yes, Your Honor? You were presented to this court as a decisive witness, but you found me more divisive than decisive.
Objection!
You'll see this time. The testimony so far has been a mere review of the facts. The proof comes next. Care to elaborate, Prosecutor Gavin? When Mr. Valent entered the hospital room, the victim had already been shot. As his next testimony will prove, Herr Wrights, the fight is about to begin. Bring it. Very well, the witness will now testify to the court. Help us determine who shot what. I arrived at the hospital at the appointed time, which is say 11:20 p.m. After discovering the body, I fulfilled my obligation and called in the doctor. The doctor examined the body before the police arrived. He was quite clear about the time of death, 11:10 p.m. And the one in the room at that time was my partner, not me. Those times are rather close, you have to admit. You're talking about an alibi established over a matter of minutes. To use a 10-minute alibi as your basis? It's easy to explain in this situation, Herr Judge. For example, take our debut single 13 Years, Hard Time for Love. Cue the song, press the play button, and we'll play for 2 minutes 15 seconds. Do it 100 times, the result is the same. Their debut single is only 2 minutes and 15 seconds long? Rip off! Come on! Magic is the word of utmost precision. Hocus pocus requires admirable focus. And the time of death determined by the doctor is a truth. Very well. The prosecution wants us that we're doing it with rather precise times. I would expect the cross-examiners require the same level of precision. I would hope the defense refrains from its customarily broad, sweeping accusations, lest we blur the focus this case so clearly demands. Point taken. Basic remarks will result in a penalty. Carry on, Mr. Wright. Carry on. Right. I don't think I'm stepping out on a limb to say I have some doubts about this. How could the doctor be so precise with the time? We do only usually get an estimated time of death, true. I'm not sure I heard of a verified time of death. Magic revels in the complex appearing simple, but reality is the opposite. What appears complex in this case is a simple method of subtraction. I see another person has done their arithmetic homework. The point here is the IV the victim was taking. It's quite visible in the photograph of the scene. Recall what we heard earlier about the victim, Magnify Gramenai's schedule. Every night at 11 o'clock, Magnify took an IV drip for 30 minutes. I can see the IV bag there, yes. Now look a little closer. Follow the tube down from the bag down to the end. The needle's been removed! Doubtlessly it fell out when he was shot. That would seem to be the case. When the needle comes out, the IV no longer drips. Ah! You could just measure the remaining IV liquid! Precisely. The IV liquid functions, for our purposes, as an hourglass of sorts. This is how the doctor determined the time of death. From the amount remaining in the bag, it was determined that the IV had stopped 10 minutes after administration began. And so it was, when I, Valent, entered that room, that 10 minutes had passed since the crime was committed. Huh. And this is the proof. Well, Mr. Wright? Did that seem important? Well, seeing how it's the biggest clue we have to the time of death, I'd say it's very important. Agreed. It would be hard to imagine a more precise way to determine the time. Behold the power of arithmetic! Very well. The witness will add this detail to his testimony. Sometimes the most magical thing of all is the truth. The water of life springs not eternal. The remaining IV liquid proves my innocence. Did you notice the IV liquid yourself by any chance? When I first entered that room, the stench of gunpowder assailed me. Next, the mark of death upon my mentor's forehead. Then his left arm did I spy a rose, dripping and wilted. Its thorn discarded the IV needle. Knocked from the vein from the force of the shot, luckily for you. If the IV had not been there, why, you might be a suspect. Indubitably so. I might say it's thanks to my lucky color. Your lucky color? Indeed. Even today I wear it proudly upon my suspect self, for it always without fail brings me luck. Why, when Zack and Valent won the first Magician's Grand Prix? Yes, the one I held at the International Magicians Association. I was adorned as a tied to our trophy, a bust. What a day that was. My lucky color, yes indeed, and that IV liquid too. I'd say it was twice used especially for me, Valent. Ha ha ha! Does that seem to be the case indeed? Well, Mr. Knight, any thoughts on this testimony? Valent sure looks happy with himself. Okay, how about this lucky color testimony? It certainly sounds like your lucky color has brought you plenty of luck. But not this time. Mr. Valent, your lucky color has betrayed you. I'm afraid you've lost me. Huh! Your Honor! The witness's testimony just now clearly contradicts the evidence! What? Please recall my warnings at the beginning of this cross-examination, Mr. Wright. Baseless accusations will be duly penalized. I do hope this latest accusation is well-based. Don't worry, I've got all your bases right here. Very well, let's hear the defense's claim. What is your evidence that contradicts what Mr. Valent has just told us? Take that! The crime scene tells all, Your Honor. The photo of the crime scene? All this talk of color has made me yearning for black and white, clear-cut simplicity. Tell us, Herr Wright, just where's the contradiction in this photo? My pleasure, and I assure you, it's quite simple. But I can't promise anything in black and white. Let's hear what Mr. Wright has to say. What in this photo contradicts the witness's testimony? Take that! Valent Grammar-Eye. Let's get one thing straight about your lucky color. It's yellow, yes? Kind of takes the mystery out of it, but yes. Something wrong with yellow, Mr. Wright? Yes, there is. Decisively wrong, in fact. Take another look at the photo of the crime scene. What's this? Confusion? Doubt? Tell us, what do your elderly eyes spy? Even my elderly eyes can see a problem here, Mr. Valent. Look at the IV bag! Ugh! What is this foul magic? Huh. It would be hard to call the IV liquid yellow, and I'm afraid no magic was involved in the taking of this photograph. Alcus, no! Order! Order! What does this mean? This is some kind of mistake. Yes, Prosecutor Gavin, your witness's mistake. The greener they are, the harder they fall. I suppose there's no substitute for experience. Valent Grammar, as you remind us several times, your lucky color is yellow, but the IV liquid is clearly not. Well... This contradiction can only mean one thing! Ugh. And to think, you almost had me. I see your true colors now, Ace Attorney Phoenix Wright. Something you'd like to tell us, Prosecutor Gavin? As far as this court can tell, the witness's testimony does contradict the evidence. Yes, a contradiction. One that I shall be pleased to hand right back to Mr. Wright! How do you mean? How? Because the witness has made no mistakes. I agree at glance the IV liquid does appear a sort of greenish yellow, but I assure you the liquid itself is quite yellow. Yellow liquid? How can you say that? As far as I can tell from this photo, it's green. Yes, but what is the color of the IV bag itself? The bag? You mean the plastic bag on the hook? It looks like I want to say a light blue? Precisely. Figured out yet? Put a yellow liquid in a blue bag, and you get green. This, incidentally, is the liquid's true color. I see! Your explanation does have a ring of truth to it.
Objection!
Ha! As I thought. There is no substitute for experience, Prosecutor Gavin. What? You may tell a good tale, but you've just proven something rather grave. For you, that is. Grave? The liquid in the IV liquid is yellow, yes. But how did this witness know that? It's quite unnatural when you think about it. You did think about it, didn't you? Your Honor, the defense requests an explanation from the witness. At the scene of the crime, the IV liquid appears to be green. So let me ask, how did the witness know the IV liquid is actually yellow? Akasolji! Order! Mr. Wright, you will explain this at once. The witness clearly knew the color of the IV liquid, so I'm sure it means something, but what? I can think of only one possibility, Your Honor. The witness, Valiant Grammari, has testified that the IV liquid is yellow because... From the facts before us, the answer is clear. The witness knew that the IV liquid is yellow. Why? Because he had seen it before, but not inside the blue bag we see in the photo. He saw the IV liquid by itself in a clear, colorless bag. I suppose he would have had to, but I'm not sure what it means. Ask yourself, why would he know if he didn't work at a hospital? That is where you'll find your meaning, Your Honor. I'm afraid I find nothing. So what if he knew the IV liquid's color? Leave the getting excited over absolutely nothing to our Tina Bopper fans, yeah? The IV liquid is the only evidence proving the time of death. A 30-minute hourglass with 20 minutes worth of sand remaining. Your claim, Prosecutor Gavin. I remember it well. However, there's a critical difference between an hourglass and an IV bag. Wait, I know! An hourglass uses sand, but an IV bag uses liquid. Am I right? As much as it pains me to say this, Your Honor, no. Unlike the sands to an hourglass, the IV liquid enters the patient's body, at which point it magically disappears. However, what if the amount of IV liquid had increased? You couldn't tell, could you? After all, there's no way of knowing how much went in. So let me get this straight, Herr Wright. You're saying the witness watered down the victim's IV bag? No, not with water, but with IV liquid. That's how you knew the IV liquid is yellow. Now wait, I said wait! How might an amateur as myself essay to perform such a task? I'm an amateur too, but I can pour water into a cup. I'm afraid there's quite a big difference between a cup and an IV bag. Quite. Can you prove our witness is capable of such a feat? He has a point, amateurs. I at least would have some difficulty pouring the IV liquid into that bag. You don't need to be an expert to see the look on the witness's face. He added liquid to that bag to throw off the time of death. I tire of these fairy tales lacking evidence. Well, Mr. Wright, any solid evidence to bring us back down to earth? Valiant Grammari, I'm afraid your magic won't serve you in a life of crime. Might I ask what you're strongly suggesting? Magic relies on props, and props become evidence. Our witness was certainly able to increase the amount of IV liquid in the bag. All I had to do was work a little magic, and the prop was... The victim's syringe. It's the perfect prop for the magically increasing IV trick, and easy enough for an amateur to use. What kind of evidence is that? That syringe is clean, not a trace of liquid in it! And don't you find that to be odd, Prosecutor Gavin? What? The victim had the syringe to administer his insulin shots. There should have been traces of insulin left inside. Ugh. Well, Valen Grammar, as you pointed out yourself, the IV liquid makes the perfect clock. One that you can manipulate at will! I'll get so